Welcome to the first episode of Gear Talk. Now, on today's episode, we're going to talk about coats. Living in Burlington, it gets really cold. Normally, day to day, walking around, this is my go-to when it's super duper cold. Just a big old parka. But to be honest, this would not be the ideal hiking coat. Way too thick, way too heavy, and it traps way too much heat. This became my go-to coat. This became my go-to coat for my hiking. This is a Nano Air Hoody by Patagonia. This thing is crazy light, super thin, barely anything to it. But I've worn it, as you just saw in that last video, in hikes that are below zero. I mean, it's incredible how well this works, considering how it's pretty much nothing to it. Now, it works best when I'm putting off a ton of heat, which my wife would tell you that I put off a ton of heat, which she loves in the wintertime, but not so much in the summer. But it traps a lot of heat, but not enough to where you're feel like you're overheating. And I sweat a lot. Even when it's negative degrees out, I still sweat. So even when this thing is wet, it's still trapping enough heat to keep me warm. Now on the way down, when my body's not producing any heat, I throw on my Patagonia Nano Puff. And this thing is perfect. This combination is exactly what I need for those super cold hikes. But to be honest, most of the hikes I've done, except for the extremely cold ones like that last one, up and down the mountain, I just wear my Nano Air with hoodie. And this hoodie is spectacular. I mean, even if I've got my beanie on, it just covers everything really well. And it goes all the way up here. So it's spectacular. It is by far my favorite purchase I've ever made. Now, yes, Patagonia is super expensive, and it took me forever just to afford to pay for this guy back in the day. And when I had to get another one, a friend of mine in San Diego told me about this site called Wornwear. And I'll link to all this stuff down in the comments, but Wornwear is Patagonia's used clothing store. And what's cool is you can send in your old Patagonia stuff to them and they'll give you credit that you can use, I think, at a regular Patagonia site as well as the Wornwear one. I think it's like a gift card or something. And then they take your stuff that you send in and they resell it. And it's brilliant. They upcycle everything, which is incredible. I think that would be considered upcycling. But it's great. I mean, Patagonia is one of my favorite companies. Anything I've ever bought from them lasts forever. My biggest problem is I might lose a ton of weight and things don't fit right anymore. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this first episode of Gear Talk. Thank you all for watching, and keep your eye out for the next hiking video.